So for me, being the superintendent of this district, it's one building. And so
Mm-hmm.
the ability to be in the classrooms, be in the hallways. I frequently will go down and I'll go outside at recess and I'll play with the kindergartners and the first graders. And I can build those relationships and get to know an actual face and a person, much more than just another number. I love that. That's what makes my day. And that's what keeps me going.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brighter Together podcast. My name is Janet Courtney, and my special guest today is Alex Moore. Alex is a superintendent at Montmorency Communities Consolidated School District 145 in Rock Hills, Illinois. Alex, I think I got it, and it's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me. Like you said, I'm the superintendent at Montmorency. We call it CCSD 145 for short, because that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
I was born and raised here, so I
Wow.
am a kind of a hometown, self-grown. I was fortunate enough. I went to Harding University in Searcy, Arkansas, to get my undergrad, and whenever I had the opportunity to come home, I knew this was the place for me. I had such a positive experience in this school as a kid growing up that I knew I wanted to give back.
Nice. That is such a great story. So how long did you start as a teacher? How did you go up through the ranks? Is that how it happened?
Yep. So I began my first year at Montmorency. I was actually the sixth grade geography, reading, and language arts teacher. That is not my forte, but I figured it out. And then after that, I became the math teacher the very next year. And so I was
Okay.
the middle school math teacher. I did that for 6 years. And then my boss at the time, he was on his way out. I had my principal certificate just in case sometime in the future.
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, they gave me an opportunity to apply, and it's all worked out. So I've spent
Awesome.
around 30 years of my life at Montmorency School.
Wow. That's incredible. Congratulations. I love that for you. I love that for your school, because it's like you know those kids, you know those families, you know that community. How big of a school district is it?
We're really tiny. We are roughly 220 kids.
K-12, or do you have
K
preschool?
through 8.
K-8. Okay, K through 8. So where do the kids go when they go to high school?
So the majority of them go to Rock Falls High School. It's its own separate district in town. Several of them do go to Newman Central Catholic. It's a private school in Sterling, the next
Okay.
town over.
Mm-hmm. So why are they separated? Why is the high school separate from the elementary, middle school?
You know, it's funny. Illinois has roughly 800 school districts. And so I know in some states that you have like a county-wide district. Illinois has a bunch of separate small districts. So Rock Falls, at one point in time, there were 6 elementary districts that fed into the high school, and a couple of those have closed. So there's 3 of us left, and then the high school district.
Where is Rock Falls in relation to the state of Illinois? Where are you guys at?
We are the Northwest, so we're about 2 hours directly west of Chicago. We're roughly 30 to 45 minutes from the Iowa border on 88.
Okay. Oh, on 88. Okay. Yeah, I grew up in Grand Island, Nebraska, so
Okay.
I've been across, and we lived in Michigan for 19 years, so lots of that back and forth. Especially my daughter lived in Lincoln for a couple of years, and so we were always, I know I drove 80, not 88, but drove through Chicago. I didn't always like driving through Chicago, I'll be honest with you. But
I don't enjoy it either.
But yeah, so the Midwest. You're definitely in the Midwest for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Me too. I was, I didn't go back to my hometown, but it was a great place to grow up. Grand Island, Nebraska was a great place to be raised and to go to school, and cows and corn. We had a lot of cows and corn. Now I'm in Texas. We have more cows and not as much corn. Anyway, okay. So tell me a little bit about what is it like to be the superintendent? What are some of your wins and maybe some of your challenges right now? Because it's an interesting time to be in education for sure.
It is. I'm pretty blessed to be in a a fairly conservative community, and I don't mean that politically. I just we've got that small town feel.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the crazy politics have not entered our district, um,
Nice.
which is nice. And so I actually have a new teacher this year that was from the St. Louis area, and she taught down there for 20 years. And she told me that it feels like she was transported 30 years back in time. I take that as a compliment.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't explain it. A lot of the locals will call this the public-private school.
Ah, okay. Okay. Nice.
So for me, being the superintendent of this district, it's one building, and so I have the ability to be in the classrooms, be in the hallways. I frequently will go down and I'll go outside at recess and I'll play with the kindergartners and the first graders, and I can build those relationships and get to know an actual face and a person much more than just another number. And
Mm-hmm.
I love that. That's what makes my day, and that's what keeps me going.
Yeah. Yeah. Those kids, they're kids are kids are kids. I don't care what time you grew up in, whatever, however society looks at kids, there is developmentally things that kids just go through, and they're just a joy. Kids are a joy. If you allow them to be a joy, they are an absolute joy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's what makes us educators and makes us. I think it's what brings us back. And one of the hardest things for me, and I've said this on the show before, was giving up seeing kids because I don't know. Did you experience that when you went from being a math teacher into administration? Was that maybe not so much? I don't know. How was it for you?
I've always had the mindset that our job is a service job in
Mm-hmm.
education, and I'm here
Mm-hmm.
to serve the students. So part of
Mm-hmm.
the decision making and going from the classroom into admin was I can touch more lives that
More
way.
lives. Yeah, one
And
thousand
so,
percent.
and I'll admit, early on in my admin career, I wasn't very good at it because there's all these new things you're learning, and there's all
Yeah.
these fires you're trying to put out. The last 3 or 4 years, I've really been able to get back to focusing on being with the kids, and I'm starting to see now that the younger you start, the better the relationships are built, and then
Mm-hmm.
they don't want to let you down, and they want you
Right.
to be proud of them. So then
Yeah.
a little less disciplinary issues.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So tell me, how has your philosophy as a superintendent, and you're the leader. I mean, you're the one who's captaining that ship there. So how has your leadership philosophy grown over the years, and how do you manage? Because I know budgets are tight, and with a small school district, you probably have even more budget constraints than someone else. So how do you manage all of that?
Keeping people first.
Mm. Mhm.
From day one when I started, I knew that I'd never wanted to have to let somebody go because we couldn't financially afford it. So
Mhm.
I'm very conservative with my spending. I treat it like it's my own home. I think the fact that I grew up literally 3 minutes from here and my house is 3 minutes from here, I treat it like my own home. So
Mhm.
that helps with that. I think I got a little off. Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're totally fine. You're totally fine. So what about so when you talk about leadership,
Yes.
what's your leadership philosophy? How do you manage the school? I mean, because you're in charge of the teachers, the
Yes.
everything, all of the support staff, everything. How did that grow in you?
Honestly, my background at church, I've been raised with the idea of servant leadership.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been known to wipe tables with the custodians. When custodians were out sick during COVID, I'd clean toilets. There's not a job that I can't do. And I try to I preach and we live by here family first. And I know some places you'll go, they'll say family first, but we mean it here. And I treat the kids like family. I try to treat staff like family, but sometimes that's good and sometimes that's bad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's good though. It's interesting that you say family first, because that's something that we strongly believe, and at Lighthouse is, if your family has an issue, go take care of them. You have to take care. I always tell people, you think about the day that you were born, think about your tombstone, right? They put on the date, the year you were born, they put a little dash, and then they put the year or the date that you die, right?
Yeah.
And in that little dash, nobody says, gosh, I wish I'd worked more,
No.
you know? So, yeah. So take care of your family, take care of your kids, take care of your elderly parents or whoever needs you, because the work will be there when you get back. It will be there, because it doesn't stop in education. It doesn't stop, and it certainly doesn't stop in what we do, in this industry at all. So there's always more kids. There's always more to be done, and yeah. So I love that for you guys, and I'm sure your staff appreciates that.
The majority.
There's always somebody, isn't there? There's always
Yes.
somebody. So what is your biggest challenge? I mean, it sounds like you've really got it going. I know finance probably, but what are your biggest challenges?
Finances are obviously, Illinois is not a wealthy state and nor run very fiscally conservative. So uh, that's going to be a challenge here in the next probably 3 to 5 years. My biggest challenge right now, and my principal is leaving. So
I'm sorry.
she's been my right-hand person for the last 6 years. And
Mm-hmm.
so we're going to do the grow your own route to try to keep
Mm.
the culture where it's at. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, that's a giant challenge because I have such close relationships with so many people in this building that I don't want to let anybody down.
Right.
But I also
Yeah.
want to make sure that we make the best decision for the kids in the school and
Mm-hmm.
our staff. So
What if every student could work with a therapist who brings not just credentials, but years of experience and wisdom to the table? At Lighthouse Therapy, most of our therapists have over 16 years of real world experience. We don't just fill seats. Instead, we find therapists who've seen it all and know how to help. And every new therapist is paired with a mentor to help them guide them every step of the way. Whether through virtual, hybrid, or in-person delivery, your students are getting services that's thoughtful, experienced, and genuinely human. Visit lighthouse-therapy.com/brighter together to learn more. So how do you, I'm curious about that, because you have one building, right?
yes.
You said you have one building and you're the superintendent, but you have a principal. How do you differentiate the work that you do versus, I mean, obviously you did because you have them both, but how did you differentiate what you were doing versus what she was doing?
Um, so she takes on the discipline.
Okay.
I take on all the finance. She handles teacher evaluations. Um, and she's the first line for personnel issues. But ultimately, if anything escalates, it comes to me.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the curriculum and instruction, we do that together. Um, and really, we're in contact frequently throughout the day. So
Yeah.
our office is right across the hall from each other, and a lot of things we just share. And it's just depending on who has the bigger load, we'll pick up for the other person.
That's nice. That's nice. When you have that kind of a partnership where you can help and not have to just be the only one at the
Yes,
top dealing with it. That's really good. That's really good.
that's how I
My
started my career. I was the only
Yeah,
one, and that was
you
tough.
were the only one. Yeah. Were you the principal and the superintendent?
Yes.
Ugh. Yeah. That's a lot of hats.
Well,
That's a lot of hats.
you're not able to do anything well when you're wearing so many
Mhm.
hats. So
Mhm.
now now
Yeah.
now we've been able to differentiate, and we can make some positive changes.
Yeah. So when do you have to start that whole process of finding somebody?
So that process has already begun.
Has it?
It's currently posted internally. As of this recording, we haven't announced to the public she's leaving. So
Oh, well, it'll be 6 weeks before this goes out, so
that's
it's
perfect.
March 5th right now, so March 5th, 2026, so you probably won't even see this until, or people won't hear this until, mid-May, I wanna say. Oh, no, mid-April, mid-April.
That's all good. She's she they're formally accepting her as the principal at the new district on the 18th. So we're gonna let everyone know
Ah,
on the 19th. But we
gotcha.
plan by the time this is out, we will have already gone through the process and already selected someone. So
Awesome. Yeah. Well, certainly let our team know, because then we can post something as well to say, "Hey, they found somebody. If you watch this, they found
okay.
somebody, and so's been hired." That's always good. So, um, Yeah. So what about the kids? You've been doing this for 30 years. Tell me a little bit about, has your philosophy or has how, society keeps changing. We're just every time you turn around, I know your teacher said you felt like she stepped back 30 years, but it's it's moving fast. And then how we educate kids and the philosophies and how we do things. What have you seen in your career?
Technology's been bad.
Mm,
That's the biggest thing I've noticed. Students don't learn the same way whenever they're on device all day long. And so I feel like COVID especially helped push that shift towards technology. And we're starting to find that if we pull that technology away, our students actually perform better and better understand the content. Um, so I think that kind of goes against the trend, and that's probably going to be a little bit of a challenge as we move forward. There's a lot of different
mhm.
opinions on that.
Yeah, I think I mean, my opinion is a balance. You have to find a balance. And if you don't find a balance, it'll balance itself one way or the other. It's just going to be, and you have to partner with parents too for that. Because it's easy to take the 3-year-old that's being loud in the supermarket and hand them a tablet so that they'll get absorbed in the game and they'll be quiet for you.
Yes, it is.
But yeah, and it's and my kids are 28, 26, and 23. So I didn't have that. I mean, we were dealing with cell phones when they were in middle school, high school, right? And my son will tell you, he's like, my youngest is 23, and he got his phone by default because everybody else had, we waited until our kids were driving before our first two,
Okay.
before we gave them a phone. And then, but we had we got rid of the landline because it was cheaper to have a cell phone that just kind of floated around the house instead of having a landline where we lived. And then when the second one got a phone, well, then we had this phone that no one was using. Well, it became my youngest. And he'll tell you, he's like, I use my phone too much, Mom. And I was like, I
Wow.
know. And now you're in the military and they're gonna beat some of that out of you. He's going into the 26th of March. He does his basic training and he's got 7.5 weeks. No phone.
Wow.
No phone whatsoever. They don't, and no contact. The only contact, and he has a very serious girlfriend, and he's like, that's going to be hard, because I was like, the art of writing letters is not a bad thing, right? So he's like, he's like, I'm starting to get a little nervous. He's like, I'm excited about it, but it makes me nervous. I said, that's okay. It's a good thing. And he's like, and it'll help me reset my clock too, because I think that's also something that happens with these kids. They get on their devices and they lose all sense of time.
They do.
They just get so sucked into whatever it is that they're doing, and then all of a sudden 3 hours has gone by, and the hour that I was going to do, and now 2 hours for homework, I don't even have those. They're gone. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
That's
was,
a tough thing.
and it's amazing how kids don't know how to communicate nowadays. We'll have an indoor recess due to poor weather, and they just want to sit and play games. They don't want to actually on their computers. They don't want to actually talk. So we recently had a rewards trip to one of the local park districts, and there were no devices, and the kids had 2 hours just to play in a giant gym and to hear the excitement, and it, it was nice. It was
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. I've talked to school leaders who have now in Texas, they've banned devices in schools. And I think there's other states that have done that. I can't tell you which ones, but and there's a lot of controversy even over that. But one of the things that I've heard, especially for the high school kids, is you take the devices. I talked to somebody yesterday, and they put them in these pouches with a metallic or a magnetic thing, and the
Oh,
kids have even learned how to get the
those.
magnet off. They like are
Mhm.
buying great big mags. It's like take it out of the school. You've got to get it away from their hands. And it's like, I agree. I think it's like something. But anyway, the point I was trying to make when I've talked to other leaders who have literally banned devices, phones and tablets and the like, except for in the school, the things that they're doing in the school for whatever supporting there. But all of a sudden, the lunchtime went from being quiet to all of a sudden the kids are talking and it's loud and they're interacting, it's that whole art of communication that is coming back, because communication is so much more. And this is a soapbox of
Yes.
mine as well. As an SLP, communication isn't just the words on a screen. And they need that. They need that interaction. They need that ability to have that conversation and not be upset by what somebody wrote to them on a post, or that somebody didn't like their post or whatever. It's like, it's tragic, some of the stuff that I've heard from kids. Yeah. Yeah. So, tell me, where should people, well, no, let's do that. Let me ask you this question. So if you could fix, and maybe it's going to be cell phones, I don't know. If you could fix, and it can't be money, by the way. But if you could fix one thing in your job, in your world as a superintendent, if you could just fix one thing, never have to deal with it again. God just says, this is gone. We fixed it. You never have to deal with it again, Alex. What would that one thing be? Just one thing.
If I could fix one thing, it's freezing up on me just a little bit.
Oh, okay.
If I could fix one thing and just
never have to hear about it, never have to worry about it, never have to deal with it again. And related to your job as a superintendent right now, what would that one thing be?
Standardized tests.
Yeah.
The amount of time and effort that's put into standardized tests and what we get for the return is it's not worth it.
No, I hear you.
It shouldn't be high stakes. Education should be about helping students to grow to be the best individual they can be. And we're all different, and we're all unique, and we have different talents. And to try to make cookie cutter kids just does not work in our society.
Oh, I agree with you so much. I was talking to somebody in Georgia today about that you're taking a standardized test, you're getting one score, and you are judging my students and their ability to do math or literacy or whatever based on one test score. And then you're also putting all the special education students in there in that test score, the ones that have challenges, and then expecting to compare me to another country who they carve all of that out. They don't even consider that, and yet I'm judged as a school and as a teacher and as a superintendent based on that one score, that one moment of time. And you and I both know, if that child had a bad day, no matter how much you've prepared them, no matter how much they have learned the skills that you have drilled into them so they could take that test score, it can go right out the window.
Yep. Yeah, it's I feel like it's the biggest joke in education, standardized testing.
Yeah. That, and how we paid schools. I don't like that either.
No.
There's a problem with that too.
Yep.
But boy, we don't have time for that one. But that's what Brighter Together is all about. We need people to understand that you cannot look at a standardized test, which is what social media and what the big, the media companies and the media in this country does, is they go out, the mainstream media looks at that one test score, looks at the data that they've gotten, and judges all of us in education on those scores and on it's such a false measure of what's happening.
It is. And I know as a parent myself, and I know from the parents that I deal with in our community, at the end of the day, I want to know that when my kid comes to school, I want to know that they're being taught, yes, but I mostly want to know that they're being loved, that they're being taught how to be respectful and how to be contributing members of our society. I don't care how they do on a test. Ultimately, at the end of the day, that test says nothing about who they are as an individual.
100%, 100%. So well said, Alex. So great. So great to talk to you. Tell people where they would go to find more information about Montmorency.
Montmorency's website is www.mgs145.net. We also have a Facebook page, and so we can be found there as well.
Awesome. Well, Alex, I love the fact that you've been there so long. You obviously love your community and love these kids. And, it just reminds me of home. So thank you for your time. I appreciate the fact that you took this time to be on Brighter Together with me.
Well, thank you, Janet. It's been a joy.